The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it. Hail Varsity's with you on the Labor Day edition. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, 489-1240 to get in. 800-825-5865. I tried to overdose on steaks last night. It's okay. Back at it and road weary. But let's get into it. It is Nebraska-Colorado week. We'll dive in, get some thoughts on the upcoming matchup. We'll spend a little bit of rewind time as well with Nebraska UTEP upon further review. Your comments, your phone calls, your input is absolutely loved, and we invite you to be a part of it today till 6 here on Hail Varsity Radio. Hail Varsity YouTube is where you can watch the show. We're streaming live on YouTube, streaming live on Hail Varsity Radio, Twitter at HVarsity Radio. And then, of course, the Hail Varsity Radio Network, Omaha, Lincoln, Kearney, Hastings, Grand Island, Columbus. Apparently, Elijah's in the Labor Day spirit. I don't know if he is sprinting to get a beer from the fridge or not, but he shall be back. We'll take some emails as well, Chris, at hailvarsity.com. Upon further review, well, Nebraska still won. Upon further review, Nebraska's defensive line was still dominant. Upon further review, Nebraska's offensive line, a really good day when it came to protection, when it came to run blocking, when it came to pass pro, and a really good day for Marcus Satterfield, and a all Big Ten freshman pick type of day for Dylan Rhule, as he was anointed freshman of the week in the Big Ten. That news coming down. But what you saw on Saturday needs to travel to Saturday night at 6:30 on NBC at Memorial Stadium. That's a attack offensively that is mixed with big plays, an attack offensively that can get you 4 or 5 on first down when you want to run the football, and occasionally break one off for a big-time gash play in the run game. Can it all translate? What translates from Boulder last Thursday night into Lincoln? And I know there's so many Buff Hate Week comments in the stream, Elijah. Folks are ready for it. Nebraska's got a certain approach, a certain way of doing their business that will produce victories this season. They can't make too much of week 2 against the bitter rivals. I said it, rivals to the west. As a Nebraska fan, you want this as bad as you've ever wanted a game, and it's attainable because of what you have on offense, what you have at quarterback, what you have back from a veteran standpoint defensively. And you can be confident. We were doing the Average Joe Sports Show pod. We were taping that, Elijah, and you know the topic was brought up about the last time you felt confident in a Nebraska football team. Well, based on your interactions with us and just seeing the smiles around town Saturday night, the mood people were in Sunday, and it wasn't just because a lot of you have Monday off from work. You're feeling good about your football team. You'll feel even better about your football team if they start the year 2-0. Let's get to the starting 5 comments. We'll hear from Matt Rhule in a little bit here, this segment. And then let's set the table for you for this Monday edition of Nebraska-Colorado week. A guy that almost came to Lincoln and would have been a hell of a quarterback for Nebraska, ended up winning a national championship with Colorado, and then ending the Nebraska dominance to the tune of a 2-0-1 record. Darian Hagan will be with us. He's at San Diego State right now. He followed Colorado's former offensive coordinator who got that head job at San Diego State. So Darian Hagan with us. He still keeps an eye on Colorado, keeps an eye on Nebraska. So Darian Hagan here at about 15 minutes. We'll try and run Tim Vergeese down later on in the week as he is off today. We appreciate Tim for all his recruiting info with Rivals and what he does with Nebraska coverage. In hour two, Mr. Blackshirt, Charlie McBride, a Monday with Charlie. Get Coach's thoughts on UTEP, Nebraska, and his thoughts looking forward as that 94 team is going to be honored on Saturday. Coach Osborne's first championship. What a vintage defense Coach McBride had in 94. And then in hour two, we'll also spend time with Blackshirt Husker NFLer Jay Moore, part of our Blackshirt Hour. Jay Moore, Big Red wrap-up with us as we get you off and running into the week. How was your weekend, Elijah? I fired the grill up. Uncle Andy and Aunt Ashley and Papa Al and Grandma Jody and the nieces came over. And that little Ella, who still is good at telling me to F off with her eyes when I ask her to do something. Put this over on the table, please, and just no. So she makes me laugh from time to time. Little Evie, yeah, it was a full blown feast at our house. Steaks and burgers, a little bit of Buffalo Trace. It was all right, man.
Yeah, I had the old fantasy football draft at my house again this year, so that was last night. Feel good about my team. I can't wait to see how it inevitably falls apart. So that should be
confidence, bro.
Should be fun to track over the next couple of months. What unforeseen injuries and horrible performances end up plaguing my fantasy football team and stick me in last place. Can't wait to follow through on that. So that was pretty good. Saturday, it's always fun to have pregame, postgame, Husker football back. So not much rest for me this weekend, but didn't want the rest. It's football season. You can sleep when you're dead.
It is go time. You said it perfectly. Elijah, sleep when you're dead. Well, here, Nebraska's head coach, Matt Rhule, we were at his press conference a little bit earlier. The topic of getting so many players into the ballgame was great. There's some excitement for what you have in Carter Nelson. There's clearly excitement from Naor and Banks. You have weapons. You have a running game. It doesn't sound like things are going to change much from Nebraska's approach from week 1 to week 2. Just kind of settle in and ground and pound it here. Maybe that's a key to success for Nebraska-Colorado, but see what you can do against their defense. Give Dillon some time, hit some big plays, take care of the football is going to be paramount. Let's get to some of our starting 5 shout-outs going on. You had tell me real quick, I told you that I tried to overdose via steak. Hell of a run, unsuccessful. Back at it again as soon as the show's done. I'm going to grill for Junior. Big day today for Junior. It's wardrobes, it's senior pictures, and he is doing that. I hope he shaved. And he's looking a little ragged. He looks like he needs to be following fish around.
Well, one of the most important things with your senior pictures is to have some part of your look that you regret completely whenever you look back in 15, 20 years. You want to have something that makes you go, what the hell was I thinking senior year of high school? So it's a tradition. You don't want to show your kids your senior pictures someday and have them be like, "Oh, Dad, you look pretty normal." Like, they have to make fun of you in some way.
He's wearing shorts and a shirt. He shook Mama down for like, dude, you have shorts and a shirt. But he's also wearing his suit. So I don't know if he's going to do the Reagan White House picture where he's behind a desk and it's all sorts of classy and formal, or what. Somebody's going to have to, I've tried to show him how to tie a tie. Usually I tie it for him. That's my bit of fathering that is, I can contribute and not screw up. Uncle Nate got him hooked up, so did Gary. That's big. But yeah, I'm anxious to see how these things turn out. Do you frown upon the multiple wardrobe choices?
No, that's a key.
Is it?
Now you have to have multiple outfit choices.
It was just
if you got to have one with the letter jacket on
collared shirt,
sure.
pair of cargos, brother, for me.
Does Junior have the letter jacket?
No.
See, it's
not a Schmidt family tradition unless you're Uncle Mark.
So, as I look back at my senior pictures, I had a couple different locations, had a couple different outfits. My 2 problems with them were, A, I did my senior pictures the day after a football game.
Okay.
So
battered and bruised, were we?
My poor photographer had to go through and clean up some of the bruises on my arms. Number 2, I was 60 pounds heavier. So I look back and it's just, wow, was I really that fat?
I would say big boned.
Oh no, I was pretty fat.
You were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But good luck to Junior with his senior pictures. And I can't wait
see how
to
they turn out.
Can't wait to see what aspects of them he regrets 15, 20 years from now.
Well, I'm bittersweet already. Senior year for Junior. Mike is in. He was in at 3:11. Mike, thank you for checking us out in the stream on Hail Varsity YouTube. Like and subscribe. Jacob is in. Buff Hate Week. GBMFR. All right, Jacob. There you have it. Uncle Jimmy is in. Yeah, that was kind of my reaction too. Jimmy says the USC game is going to be a tough one. That was great. I pulled the TV outside, had it going while I was grilling, and then we just poured a drink and watched the end of it. That was incredible. Good for SC. The Big Ten went 17-1 in week 1.
Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota, but it could have been 18-0 if you. Why didn't they miss the kick a year ago? Hit this one this year.
Hey, it's New Year.
USC looks really good.
The question, which you never know, you need added context. Is USC's defense massively improved?
Yes.
Are we overrating LSU's offense coming into this one? You don't really know till week 2, but that USC defense was impressive compared to what they were over the past 2 years.
Amy just made a good point when Babbers and I were talking about SC. As a hell of a win by SC. Amy's pretty locked in with LSU still. It's like, yeah, they didn't do much on offense as far as from a scheme standpoint. It's pretty vanilla, and they didn't play their best pass rusher. So old BK can pound the table all he wants. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty good insight from Amy.
Looked like he was up too late collecting those trading cards.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think so. Mr. Erickson is in, and you grandpa is here. Black Hills Brennan, relentless, disciplined, violent. He is screaming it. We are officially putting Nebraska on field storming watch, are we? I don't think you storm the field if you beat Colorado. Absolutely not. No. Are they ranked? Is there a single digit next to their name? That is criteria for taking a goalpost down. And beating Prime when they're unranked after the winning last week for the first time since October of a year ago, no. You don't.
Yeah, save that field storming for the Illinois game.
No, I think you save it for...
You save it for, I'm with you, when a top 10 team comes to town. Mm-hmm. College game days here, you get an impressive win.
Yep, Larry is in from Estes. Larry, a year ago, we were in Estes at Big Red of the Rockies doing shows. Then we were in Boulder. It was tons of fun, except for the outcome. We did meet the Snitley boys, though, part of the Boulder Peace Treaty. Loved that. Anonymous is in. He says, I texted Carter Nelson's grandpa after his first catch. Grandpa said he didn't get as excited as he should have because he thought it was Fedoni who made the catch. Anonymous in the stream. NASCAR Eric is here. Good to have you, NASCAR Eric. Coach Brandon is here. Dylan, good to have you. Gray Woman 79. Appreciate you, Gray Woman 79, for being in. Rhule the Day is here. KG is in. I've watched the Nebraska game 3 times. DR has talent. Love the analysis, KG. That's good stuff. Great press conference by Rhule earlier, says Gray Woman 79, Nebraska nice on Sunday. Totally agree. And I think you're going to get ticked off, angry Nebraska fan. Snitley checks in, a radio show on a holiday. I'm pleasantly surprised. See you, hate week has begun. Amen. Jeff is here. Jeffco, good to have you. James checks in. And you also have... Okay, Stank Nooner. CU has a great week.
CU had a great week.
Excuse me. CU had a great week, and we will stop the run and protect the quarterback for a whole game. Just ask the Buffs fans. So, hey, that's the formula. That's the formula. Can we roll some Rhule here on just exactly his thoughts on the Nebraska-Colorado rivalry?
Oh, yeah, my wife and I, we went skiing this year in Beaver Creek, and we were kind of sent the kids up, and we met some friends, and we were sitting down, like hanging out, and this young lady walked up to me and she said, are you Coach Rhule from the Huskers? And I was like, I thought I was a Husker fan. I said, yeah. And she said something to me. I can't repeat it out loud. And her boyfriend was like, oh, sorry, Coach. I was like, nah, hey, this is what's great about college football, right? We love rivalries. We love all of that. And so this is a long-established rivalry. And I think it's great for the game. I think it's great for us. It's great for our university. People all across the country are going to tune in this week to see this football game, and they'll see our fan base. They'll see the class with which we play. They'll see two great teams compete. They'll see our campus. You have enough games like this, and admissions applications start to go up, and admissions start to go up, and good things start to happen. Watching the game last week, look what's happened at Colorado. So I think the rivalry's great. And yes, as we went through this process, as I was showing my family Nebraska, I was showing them, those games, like, you get on YouTube, and, the algorithm starts sending those things. So we were watching all these old games, and so it was a great rivalry that I grew up on, and it's a lot of those rivalries are dead now. So it's great to, play it.
We'll have more from Matt Rhule, but we'll dive headfirst into Colorado, Nebraska Hate Week. Darian Hagan next.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back into it. It's Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. It is Nebraska and Colorado this week. Just got done, heard a little bit from Matt Rhule's presser earlier today. He's at San Diego State now, but he is... Well, he's on the wall in Folsom, All-American and national championship quarterback for Colorado. Darian Hagan, a lot of years with the Buffs on the coaching staff, and, of course, as a great player. Darian, we get to talk about, these home-and-home deals, and then about every 5 years when Nebraska and Colorado is scheduled, now that they're not conference mates anymore. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for taking the time. I know you're focusing on your own program at San Diego State for a second week, but needed to make the phone call and say, hey, you feel like talking Nebraska-Colorado, and it's good to have you on. And can you put a word and associate a word with this rivalry?
What word would I use to emphasize this game? We used to call it a war, because every time we went out, we knew it was going to be, a bloody affair, so we had to prepare for it mentally and physically. But I would probably say a war. And it's right across the border from each other, so
sure.
It symbolizes that.
No, that's a really good word. And from the mental and the physical, what was it? I want to say hatred, but was it heated, or how much? Give me a percentage here between the man, you got to beat those guys versus the respect level, because both you guys were Nebraska, Colorado, typically top 10 teams, top 5 teams.
I would say it was heated and it was hatred. Because, Nebraska at the time, they were the best in the country. In order to be the best, you had to beat the best. And we knew that going into there that we had to play our best ball, and we knew when they came to us, they were going to have to play their best ball. But it was hate. I would say 90% of it was hatred. And I would say the hatred is kind of probably a little bit more jealous because of the success that they had, and we wanted to obtain that. And then once we did, we didn't want to give it back. So, it was a hatred and a heated rivalry at the same time.
Darian Hagan with us here talking Nebraska CU Hail Varsity Radio. And is there a moment that stands out to you from your playing career that defined the hatred that there was in this football game?
I would say 1989. My first year starting at Colorado, and you guys came to us, and we hadn't beaten Nebraska in years, and In 1988, we came close. And I remember when J.J. Flanagan was going in for a touchdown in Lincoln, and he fumbled, and it was on everybody's mind how close we were. And then when you guys came in 1989, and, I remember Ralphie running, and the people at Nebraska on the sideline, they didn't get out of the way, and Ralphie didn't get out of the way. And then Nebraska's sideline flinched, and once we seen them flinch, we knew that a victory was in our hands.
Yeah, the old game of chicken with Ralphie's not a good thing, Darian.
No, absolutely. And they would not move. And then once she got closer and closer, and at the last minute, they got out of the way. And we knew that at that moment that University of Colorado football had arrived.
Big ball game, tight ball game in 89. What happened? I was a kid in the stands and couldn't believe what I saw that 7-0 game in 88.
Right.
Broderick Thomas and the Sandman and company and shut them out, and then they go down to Oklahoma and get back to the Orange Bowl and big ball game. That said, but what the hell happened with Flanagan? He's wide open all by himself, just down the sideline. How did that fumble happen?
Because he was trying to switch hands, and that's one of the biggest things that we've always talked about as a coach, and I still preach it as a coach today, is anytime you're in an open field, okay, and you're getting ready to score a touchdown, there's no need to switch the ball to the opposite hand. Keep the ball in the hand you got it in, or in the arm you got it in, and go score a touchdown, and then the rest is history. Then you can celebrate while giving the ball back to the referee. But he was one of those guys that, he wanted to make a splash, and he switched it and fumbled, and now he had to live with it. And then the next season, I don't know if you guys remember it was we had a long run. I had a long run, and I'm running down Nebraska sideline, and I pitched it to him. And when I pitched it to him, as he was going in, he got to the 5-yard line. He grabbed the ball again with his opposite hand, and he's pointing toward Nebraska's fans as he's going in, scoring the ball. And Coach Mack got him to the sideline and ripped him. And that's something that I always teach the guys. There's no need to do that. There's no need to stretch the ball out and all those things. Go score a touchdown, act like you've been there, and live your life, man.
Darian Hagan with us. If you poll some Nebraska fans, that option pitch where it was 2-on-1 might have been forward, Darian.
It wasn't forward. You know why?
Because the ref said it wasn't forward?
The ref said it wasn't, and when I pitched it, I actually pitched it to him behind, and I ran in front of Reggie Cooper.
Yeah, Reggie was trying to play 1-on-2, it looked like.
Right, and I could have, every time I watched the video, if I would have kept the ball, if I was a selfish player, I could have kept it and scored a touchdown. But I tell people all the time, the reason why I pitched the ball to JJ was for him to go out in glory because of what he did the previous year with the fumble.
Well, there it is.
That's so thoughtful.
and all that was all my thought process while running away from those big old fast dudes.
I love it, though. Darian Hagan says it wasn't forward, so I think that settles the debate permanently. No more questions from Husker fans. If Darian says it must be true, right?
Oh, yeah. It's the honest to God truth.
I remember the coaches show that week, and they had John Melton was with Devaney, and John Melton was linebackers coach till the late 80s, and he was working for Coach McBride, and we have Coach on. He'll be on a little bit later today with us every week, and
okay.
Yeah, and Melton was losing his mind on the coaches show about the pitch.
What did Charlie say?
Charlie was just like, over the years, he's just like, that was a hell of a play. I mean, but he wasn't sure, and you remember. Right. All the bad calls or non-calls on the road as a player.
Right. Right, absolutely.
So,
but I know for a fact that one was not forward. I've never, that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Well, we live in Nebraska, so if the 89 Colorado game gets brought up on what was ESPN Classic, I think it was, a 4-point ball game or something?
Yes.
And that was a huge play in the game because I think Nebraska scored on a screenplay of all things, the first play of the game.
First play of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
first play of the game, and then the run I had was to go to tie it.
Yep. It was getting to be that momentum moment. When it comes to Nebraska-Colorado, listening to Coach Rhule, he's very poignant on, look, this is year 2, this is game 2. He's not trying to build it up too much, while also recognizing and understanding the magnitude. But Darian, there are pivot points in the season. This is big. I mean, it's big for Prime. I mean, you guys started out on fire last year and had a tough schedule, and Nebraska started out 0-2 after really getting not much offense and a lot of turnovers, and the Buffs were able to take advantage. I mean, it's a big ball game because of who it is. It's a big ball game because the world's going to be watching 6:30 in Lincoln. But it's also, I think, a launching point possibly for Nebraska. Do you think it's kind of a stabilizer for Colorado?
Absolutely. I think that, if Nebraska wins this game, it's going to be, it's a game that can put Nebraska back in the championship talk, get people to fall and, to understanding that Nebraska football is back under Coach Rhule. And if Colorado wins, it's something that, that people will say is needed because, how they played, how they finished last year. So both of them, they both going to get on and say the right things on the radio and on TV. But behind closed doors, both of them are pointing, to the heated rivalry. But I think Coach Prime, he's going to use his approach to the game is going to be, we got to score fast, we got to play fast, and you look good, you feel good, you play good. He's going to use all that stuff, and I think Coach Rhule in Nebraska, what Coach Rhule is going to do, he's going to say, you got to be fundamentally sound and be physical, out physical those guys, and I think Nebraska can win. So both teams have a lot to lose and a lot to gain from it.
Do you think this game has the same feeling of hatred that you referred to whenever you discussed your memories of the Colorado-Nebraska rivalry? Do you think the hatred lives through to 2024 and we'll see some of that on Saturday?
I think you'll see some of it, because this summer for the first time I heard Coach Prime say that, red wasn't allowed in the building. The year before I didn't hear that. So I heard that this summer, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, he's starting to understand the tradition around University of Colorado. So it's going to be some talking. It's going to be some pads. Hitting out there. It's going to be It's going to be fun just to watch both of those teams. On national TV in front of everybody to watch it and see it unfold. And the better team, the well coached team, is going to win. That's what I believe.
Darian Hagan with us, Hail Varsity Radio. A few more minutes with Coach Hagan. He's at San Diego State now, but was part of Prime's staff last year. Of course, Hagan from his days as the quarterback and an assistant at the Colorado program for many, many years. We'll keep going here. Nebraska-Colorado rivalry week is here. More with the former Buff when we continue. Coach McBride coming up in hour 2. Monday with Charlie. Jay Moore with us in hour 2 as well. Great to be with you on your Labor Day. It's Hail Varsity Live, and we are powered by Cornhead Lager.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Darian Hagan with us, Hall of Fame Colorado quarterback. Finished 5th in the Heisman in '89. Now with San Diego State, part of Colorado football for decades with us here on Hail Varsity Radio as we're talking Nebraska-Colorado rivalry week. What's your take? You've seen a lot of players come through. You've coached quarterbacks. You've coached wideouts. You've coached running backs, Darian. You've got Hunter and Horn, and the kind of the reaction to Nebraska fans we've interacted with since the North Dakota State game was, wow. I mean, you saw it on display a year ago with the talent of Horn and Hunter, but it's a new level, man, with what they were able to do. They were able to take a 15-yard seam pass, and it's a touchdown 70 yards later, and Shedeur looks really, really – he was really good a year ago, but he's even better going into this second year. What's your impressions been?
I think that, with the quarterback being his second year in the offense, it's not the offense is not the same, but it's similar to, terminology, similar principles, but it's not the same. But, the same reads, the same, the same formula to it is the same, but anytime you have a quarterback as good as he is and you have two dynamic players that he's throwing to that can go to the house in a hurry, on a slant, or a seam ball, a hitch route, that are dynamic with the ball in the hand. You kind of play cautious on defense. I think that, Nebraska, if they want to have an opportunity or a chance to win that game, they better heat up the quarterback. Mm-hmm. If they heat up the quarterback, they got a better chance. If they sit back and let him just read the defense and pick them apart, it's going to be a long day. But I think if they heat him up and make him make fast decisions and make those guys speed up in their routes and you try to make them make fast decisions, then I think that the University of Colorado may be in for a long night.
It's Darian Hagan with us here. And Darian, from a quarterbacking perspective, you look at Travis Hunter on Colorado's side. I think you could maybe look at Naor on Nebraska's side as being a receiver that we've already seen it. The quarterback is building trust with that receiver. And I guess specifically with Travis Hunter, what does it do from a quarterbacking perspective to have that guy out there that hey, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be open, and even when he's not, I can throw it to him, and he's going to find a way to come down with it. What does that do to a quarterback psyche, having a guy like that on your side of the ball?
You think that you can make every throw, and every throw doesn't have to be perfect, but just put it in the vicinity of a guy like Travis Hunter, and you have a 90% chance of coming down with a completion. So with a quarterback with that thinking is really dangerous because now he can get the ball in other people's hands, but he's always going to go to his reliable, dependable receiver that he has a rapport with. And Travis Hunter is that guy for him. And at the same time, Travis may get double teamed, and you got another guy that can bust down the seams and catch a ball and do some good things like Jimmy Horn. And it's you shooting for stars right there,
Darian Hagan with us. Darian, we'll say goodbye. Just a quick thought. I don't know how much film or highlights you've seen of Dylan Raiola, but the freshman 5-star came in and was, it didn't bother him. He wasn't phased in his opener from a jitters standpoint. Right. He really did well with the offense. And what's key for such a young player in a big ball game like this?
Now, tell me this. Was he an early enrollee, like a January guy?
Yeah, he came in and did spring ball. Yep. Anytime
you can have a freshman quarterback that can come in January and get spring ball in his belt, and he's proven that he's already capable of being a superstar, but you can get him under get in school early and get him down and entrenched with the offense. And that coming in that you may be forced to play him anyway. And with his talent and his ability, he proved to be the starting guy. He proved to be the guy that they thought he could be. And when he went out there, I'm pretty sure he was he wasn't wavering or anything like that because of what he's been taught, the players that he has a rapport with, the confidence that they have in him, and the confidence he has in those guys. The sky's always the limit. We played with a freshman quarterback last Saturday as well, true freshman. Got here in January, won a starting job, and went out there and played lights out. Didn't turn the ball over. He put the ball in the right people's hands, and our running backs, our O-line protected this guy. So with a guy like Raiola, man, just give all he needs is a fighting chance. Give him a chance, and hey, he's going to do some really good things. He's going to put the ball in the right places. You don't get to be a 5-star without being, really, really good. And he's been blessed with the hands of God, to and handed the keys at the University of Nebraska, which is nothing, to be taken light. So what he's doing, and I'm going to watch him, on Saturday like a hawk, because I want the University of Colorado to do well, but I like watching young guys out there delivering and doing the best that they can. So I'm going to be rooting for both teams, but I'm going to be watching that quarterback as well.
It's Colorado legend, current San Diego State assistant coach Darian Hagan with us here. And before we get you out, Coach, you got Oregon State coming to town this weekend. I know you got win number 1 under your belt already. What are you looking forward to, and what are you hoping to learn about your team on Saturday?
What I'm looking forward to is being 1-0 again. We can be 1-0. Every time we get on the football field, that's good. Because winning is hard. Winning is hard, but you put the work in. And you do everything the right way. And we have some really good guys on our team. We have great coaches. And we will have a great plan. And what I'm looking forward to is seeing my running backs get out there and run the ball well, and being able to rotate, and play more than one, more than two. I want to play more than, probably 4 guys on Saturday. If we can do that, then, we'll be 1-0.
Do you ever scare Barnett when it came to film session? What was in the VCR?
I did, and every time I used to change the label.
What'd you change the movie to?
I can't tell you that. But he always knew something was up, because all the quarterbacks were in there on time and we had our notebooks out. We're like, come on, coach, let's go, put the tape in. And he knew something was up. He was like, okay, what y'all got going on? And he never put the tape in. It was the funniest thing. Yeah. But yeah, Coach Barnett he's an awesome man, and when you guys talk to him, tell him I say hello. I love him.
I had to probe there. Darian Hagan. Darian, you take care, man. Best of luck, and we'll chat again. Thank you much.
All right, now. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate you.
There he is, Darian Hagan. Urban legend said that film session could be followed with hilarity ensuing. Change the labels, Elijah.
I'm sure it was cheaper by the dozen.
Or maybe just Godfather Part 2.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right?
I'm sure
it's Godfather Part 2.
The highbrow type films that they were changing it out with, I'm sure.
We'll get to some of your calls, get to more of your stream comments. We are here on Labor Day for you. It's Nebraska-Colorado week. Hour 2 on the way, but one more segment to go this first hour. Hail Varsity YouTube, like and subscribe. Find and follow on Twitter as well at H Varsity Radio.
Hail Varsity Radio is live. Now, back to Schmitty.
Schmitty's a great guy, but he don't have a brain.
And Elijah.
You want me to speak? We're not pointing you yet.
On Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time this hour, Hail Varsity YouTube. Like and subscribe. Hail Varsity Radio Twitter. You can watch that way. Hear us along the Hail Varsity Radio Network here on a holiday, but it is a holiday week. Nebraska-Colorado. 6:30 NBC. All right, let's get you buckled up. Use your seatbelt. It saves lives. It prevents injuries only if properly worn. Make it click. A message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Or sit down with Darian Hagan on the podcast page, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play with Hail Varsity Radio. You can check it out that way. Also on YouTube and on Twitter. We have a little more time for Matt Rhule. Yeah. All right, let's hear some more Matt Rhule. Crowd noise is going to be key. You are already maybe pouring a beer into a red Solo cup for Saturday night. Matt Rhule on the Memorial Stadium impact.
Yeah, the crowd noise is a real. I think even as I watch college football, you see a lot of guys they're putting their hands over their ears. College games just have a tendency to be a lot louder than a lot of NFL games. NFL stadiums are 65,000. There's some college games could be 85, 90, 105,000 people, right? It's metal stadiums, built differently, reverberating, less skyboxes. It's just night and day. Like I said, I had to switch my headset. I had to go from the single to the double just to have a chance. Plus it's the first time being used. You go out and test them, then you bring in all the TV trucks and Wi-Fi and all the stuff that everyone uses, and it starts to mess with the frequencies. So, now hopefully this week it'll be a little cleaner, but it was loud. I think the one great thing is it lets our fans know that they have an impact. The very first, I think, third down, the opponent last week false started. So that's a traditional way. But, I think on the TV copy, Allison Williams did a nice job where she was listening to their headset and showing, they were actually coaching the plays, like where to throw it. They weren't making checks for them. They were going in motion saying, hey, throw it, hand it. They were coaching the game for them. Well, we're not doing that. And that's great what they're doing. I'm saying in general, how loud we can be in a stadium really impacts the game. So it's not just, hey, third down, trying to make them jump off sides anymore. Now it's like make it really hard for them to hear the play calls and the checks, because it was hard for us at times.
And as we talk about a juiced-up Memorial Stadium here, which I don't think Matt Rhule needs to get up in front of the podium and tell Husker Nation to be juiced on Saturday. I think that juice is going to be there regardless.
It's going to be gin and juice on Saturday night.
The question that I have is not necessarily how does Colorado respond. That's going to be a factor in the game, but I think a more interesting topic is, did you see enough from Dylan on Saturday to lead you to think he's going to handle that moment well? Because that's still an unknown. He did it in front of 90,000 against UTEP, but a juiced-up, blood-in-the-water Memorial Stadium, that's a different type of environment to be playing in front of.
Yeah, don't get sped up. Don't get too butterfly-y. Just go do your thing. And goes back to Rhule's approach. It's another game. It's game 2. Now that you're not understanding the rivalry element to this, but big picture, they're a long ways away from what they want to become. Now, this is part of that process where you get a team of the hype of Colorado. And what I mean by hype is you're going to get a ton of attention. This showcase opportunity for Nebraska is great. And it's some validation, too. Year 2, go play in a big game. You've got them littered on your schedule. Go win a big game in this program at home. Mr. McBride is next. A Monday with Charlie at Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager.
This is Christian Peter. I'm sorry, but the stories I have about Charlie are not appropriate for the public.
The right case of the Mondays. It's Mr. Blackshirt, Charlie McBride, on Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you at Tower 2, the Labor Day edition. It's Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager. It is Nebraska-Colorado week. Elijah Herbel, Chris Schmidt. We welcome in Mr. Blackshirt himself, Charlie McBride. A Monday with Charlie. We'll get Charlie here in just a moment. We are going to read some of your stream comments while we get Coach locked in here on the phone. Black Hills Brennan asked the question, will Colorado, Nebraska Saturday be louder than Miami? 2014, I think it's going to be the same type payback, carnival atmosphere, blood in the water feel. Black Hills Brennan, I really think Nebraska fan is going to start early and finish late with the runway of gearing up, ramping up, vamping up for all sorts of assistance in that 12th man role that Rhule talked about a little earlier today, where he said, Lee, be Nebraska nice on Sunday. Don't punch anybody or stab anybody in the neck like you're a soccer hooligan. That said, you can affect a 3rd and 9 count. Mr. Rog 48 says, I hope it doesn't come down to a field goal, because I still don't know about our field goal kicking. Hey, 1 for 1. It's all good, right? Rog 48. Cliff is in late like Elijah on Saturday morning.
That's libelous.
Cliff piled on. We welcome in Mr. Blackshirt, Charlie McBride. Coach, how we doing? It's Nebraska-Colorado week. How you feeling here? Big ball game Saturday.
I'm getting ready, but I have trouble at home all the time because of people putting things in different places.
Oh, sure.
And I just found my phone. I'm glad you called.
Well, the misplaced phone, Coach, it can be treacherous.
Well, I'm always ready to play them. I mean, you have to be. But the one thing is it's a situation where you can't get so carried away with it that you outdo yourself. You know, some kids try too hard, and the things do things they can't do. Mm-hmm. You know, out of the ordinary. And but I don't think we have a bunch like that. But that's what can happen sometimes when you get really worked up about something. You know, you overrun stuff. You do all kinds of crazy things.
You just get too amped, right? You got to play within yourself and just play composed is the key. We'll talk a little bit about Colorado, Nebraska here in a moment, but what did you think Saturday with Nebraska UTEP? What did you think of Rhule? What did you think of the defense? Did you have a good Saturday?
I did. I thought it was really, they played well. And the thing that I liked about it is I think we had something like 108 kids or something suited up, and we played all of them. And everyone got on the field, and, you know, you made the others happy. But that's not the idea. The idea of the thing is that they all feel part of it. And that's the way you want them to feel. You know, you want to feel that it isn't going to happen all the time, but you know, there's times when you need to give them a little boost, and it's usually this time of the year.
Mm-hmm. They were able to get the kids in, play well enough to make the score what it needed to be.
Yeah, and you know the thing is that, you know, when you start the quarterback, people don't know him very good, and I don't. I sure don't, but I can see he's got a lot of confidence in himself. Mm-hmm. He's poised. He's mature. Probably more mature for his age at this particular time. You know, in going into a game like this, and I'm sure his dad has told him what it's like. You know, to settle down, you know, and get in there, and don't just take your time to get started. Mm-hmm. And that looks like what he did. And then, as you saw, the game kind of progressed, and we started throwing the ball a little deeper. And the coaches all know that. They know what's going on. They've been around the horn a few times, and so they did a good job handling him, I think, and the other quarterbacks. I mean, they all got in the game. I would have all the numbers and everything here so I can see, and that's all I was doing, was looking at the pages trying to find out who that guy is and who this guy is. And it was, it's kind of hard to keep watching the game and finding out who the heck's playing in it. Mm-hmm. So there was a good deal there, but I thought for a start it was great, you know, and the defense was, you know, the kids played sound, and they didn't try to do anything strange, you know. And I think if there is something strange, you may see a little bit of it this week.
Sure.
It's Charlie McBride with us here on Hail Varsity Radio, and Charlie, Husker Nation, let's be honest, the excitement abounds based on what they saw, especially at the quarterback position on Saturday, with how well the defense played. The final score is great, but I think a lot of Husker fans also know in the back of their mind, well, it's UTEP, and there's going to be greater challenges coming at some point this season. Where are you at in terms of what that performance meant? Or are you allowing Husker fans to get excited based on what they saw on Saturday, or do you think Husker fans should rein it back in?
Yeah, I think I would be a little bit excited about it. I think that the range of anticipation and things like that against another team, when they get on the field, people don't look at it as a sure thing, or you might look at it before that, but when you get on the field, you don't look at it that way. You don't. You're trying to do the same things you do against any opponent, and don't make mistakes. And the things that are right, you want to do the things right, no matter who they're against. And once you find out, hey, these guys are pretty good. The score was 7-7 for a while. It was 7-0 for a while, but they got back to 7-7, and then opened up their eyes a little bit, and then they decided, hey, we're not going through this again. Mm-hmm. And that was it. That was the attitude. We're just going to take this and blow their socks off, and that's what they did.
Coach McBride's with us, Hail Varsity Radio on Monday with Charlie. Coach, let's get to what you think Nebraska can do against Colorado. How big is this game? This program's going to be on a bit of a showcase, a stage nationally with Nebraska and the Rhule experience and kind of buzz around him. Of course, you have Coach Prime and Shedeur and the high-flying act that Colorado has on offense. I mean, it should be a lot of fun. I think the atmosphere is going to be great. All that being said, I'm wondering just your feel. How can Nebraska get out of this big game opportunity with a win? What do they need to do?
Well, I think that the pass rush is going to be the most important thing, and to be able to move the ball consistently. You look at the first quarter, the first part of the game, I think we had the ball 7 or 8 minutes, that quarter, and just taking the ball and moving it down the field and taking your time and getting first downs. Mm-hmm. And but I think the pass rush, when it gets all down to it, is going to be the big thing. And I think a little bit of double covering on occasion to make it look like it's going to be double covering, and then don't double cover, that person. A lot of, and double cover the other person. So, because they'll be able to read, it's a double cover or double cover, so we're going to the other side. And that's where you want to double cover then, Mm-hmm. So it's all a game, but it's a little bit of a guessing game as far as defensively. But you don't want to get out of your realm of what you do good, by any means. I mean, those are just little things that are, that might help at certain times. But I think the biggest thing is I think we're going to have to keep the ball in front of us and you're going to have to be physical with the guys coming off the line of scrimmage. And sometimes, when you're doing that, you're double covering the first guy that really he'll run by one of them. But before he runs by, you ought to put the screws to him. And you ought to hit him in the mouth with your, and hit him. Be physical with him, and don't disrupt his route. Mm-hmm. And that slows a lot of speed down. And, a lot of times when you use your hands and start getting contact with them, it's in those first 5 yards, you can really change the pass pattern a bit. And you can change the quarterback's reads.
Charlie,
go ahead.
One of the things from Saturday that a lot of Husker fans, myself included, noticed was the fact that Nebraska didn't dial up a lot of pressure in this game against UTEP, and that's what I'll say about Tony White is he's at his best whenever he gets a little bit weird and a little bit aggressive defensively. Whenever he throws out some interesting coverage shells, he starts bringing pressure from weird places. That's when he's at his best. I want to get your thoughts. I think Nebraska will bring some more pressure this weekend. How do you assess the risk versus reward nature of bringing a blitz in a game like Colorado with their high-powered offense?
Well, I think a little bit the first game will tell them a little bit about their pass, their line, how their line blocks, and some of the things you can work. Sometimes running two guys through one hole is a pretty good thing to do against a team like this. But you can do it 1,000 ways, and I'm sure they're going to find out the way that we can get to his face, get in front of him. And, try to keep him in the pocket, and if you can. And you don't want him out running around. Because when they run around, he runs around. And then they start breaking their routes, and they just look for open areas. and they're good at that because they practice it all the time. Mm-hmm. And so that'll be something they have to look at. But it's a tough thing. You gotta get the pressure to them.
Coach, we'll say goodbye with this, and excited for Nebraska-Colorado on Saturday night. It's the 30th anniversary of the 1994 team. Of course, that team, your Blackshirts, held Cordell Stewart and company to just 7 points, number 2 versus number 3. What do you remember about that 200th sellout?
Yeah, that was there. I was at that game.
Yeah, I know you were.
I know. I'll be at the game. I'm gonna drive in with Jared Thomas. Our families are gonna go, and we're gonna have a good time, and so we'll watch them win.
Okay,
Coach. Before we get you out of here,
the big red is gonna win. I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Even though I might have gone to that other funny school, I'm a Badger. I'm a fan of the Huskers as far as that goes all my life. I mean, that I've been there 25 years. I figure if that's part of my coaching career. So
for sure,
Coach. Before we get you out, we had Darian Hagan on with us last hour. We talked briefly about that 1989 game, the pitch to J.J. Flanagan. Was it forward? Was it backwards? And he did want to know what your thoughts on that play were. Do you remember the Darian Hagan pitch to Flanagan? Was it forward? Any thoughts on that play?
No, I know he went backwards. It was no, there isn't. But it's just it's one of those things that always going to be. There's going to be we're all talking about it now, aren't we? And that's what's going to happen. That's what it's going to do, and nobody's going to get the answer. And even the officials don't even know what the answer is, So, but I would say, because I'm on the other team, I'd say one forward.
See, I said I don't know what Coach will say about it, but I know what Nebraska fans think about it. Coach, we'll have a great time this weekend. We look forward to seeing you and appreciate you as always.
Okay, guys. Good seeing you. Nice talking to you.
All right.
I'll see you. Bye now.
There he is, Mr. Blackshirt, Charlie McBride. A Monday with Charlie.
And I have a take on this because I was not somebody who was entrenched in fandom. I wasn't alive in 1989. Going back and watching that play.
That's a subtle jab at all of us who remember that game.
Yeah, it is.
I was 11.
I had the pitches perfectly sideways, perfectly lateral, which would be considered a legal play. I'll just throw that out there.
It was a hell of a play.
Yeah, Flanagan was behind him. And that isn't always necessary. You can pitch it forward with the guy still behind you.
Right. It looked like he ran up and caught it in stride. We'll ask Barney later in the week.
I think it was pretty perfectly lateral to the line of scrimmage. So I'm the definitive answer here.
Okay, you make the call. You break the tie. So we'll get to some more of your comments in the stream. Good stuff from Coach McBride. You just caught part of that, or want to hear it again, Hail Varsity YouTube is where we podcast and put the video archives. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. Check that out. Give us a review, good, bad, or ugly. Appreciate that. And find us on Twitter at HVarsity Radio. Elijah Herbel, Chris Schmidt. Jay Moore gets the Blackshirt Hour moving as well. Blackshirt Jay next on Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager.
All-State, 2-year starter, and rush in for the Big Red and NFL vet.
Is Dudeness or Duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
It's Blackshirt Jay Moore with Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you at Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager. It's Colorado-Nebraska week. We talk Jay Moore. Blackshirt Husker NFLer and part of Big Red Wrap-Up at Jay Moore 44 is where you find and follow him. You see him Tuesday nights. Jay Bird, we'll get thoughts on UTEP, but big week, man. It is the eyes of college football going to be descending on Lincoln for Prime and Company invading the capital city. How are we doing?
I'm doing well, yeah. This one's been circled on the calendar since last year. since Nebraska, kind of embarrassed themselves last year in Boulder. Second game of the season, the turnovers were an issue. Defense still played okay throughout that game. Got to Shedeur a bunch of times. I think almost at 10 sacks. I think it was 8 or 9 total. But this one it means a lot. Obviously, the rivalry between Nebraska and Colorado is something I've been a part of, and I cannot stand Colorado personally. So it just means a lot. Obviously, getting off to a good start, but also just beating Colorado because they're Colorado, and it has to happen, right? It just means a lot. It always has, and you throw Dion in the mix, and they still got a good football team. So they're able to do against North Dakota State last week on Thursday night, but this one's been circled on the calendar for a long time. It's going to be a night game. It's going to be rather rowdy, which is going to be perfect. Crowd will be loud, and I'm guessing obnoxious, which there'll be quite the scene on Saturday. I can't wait for it.
It's Jay Moore with us here, Hail Varsity Radio, part of the Blackshirt Hour. And Jay, we asked this question to Darian Hagan last hour. I want to get your thoughts on it. What is the one word that you would use to describe the Nebraska-Colorado rivalry?
Oh gosh, I think there's a lot of hatred, right? I think hatred is the word that kind of comes to mind for me, and not necessarily. It wasn't one of those where it just transitioned, right? It was Oklahoma, Nebraska for all the years day after Thanksgiving. Colorado was in the mix, but they were kind of the stepchild to the Oklahoma Nebraska rivalry. But once Bill McCartney got in there, and he circled this, he said, for us to get to where we need to go, we have to beat Nebraska. So what do? You're not allowed to wear red in the Colorado facility. Can't have ends, anywhere, and you can't say that, Nebraska. And so I think that kind of started it. And let's be honest, Colorado fans aren't the greatest to be around. Plenty of road trips out to Boulder, and the rumor was get a rental car with an out-of-state license plate, because if they see a Nebraska car, there's going to be damage done to your car if you're in Boulder. So hatred is definitely a term, and luckily Nebraska, I think, in the history has gotten the best of Colorado. But in the last handful of years, once the Coach Barnett, friend of the show, he got that thing going where it was a coin flip every year. When Nebraska played Colorado in the Big 12, and obviously we've had a couple games here or there now that we switch over to the Big 10, but it still means a lot. And I know Nebraska fans hate Colorado hates Nebraska fans, but that's fun. That's a rivalry. That's college football. There's passion. There's energy. And both teams are playing better. So that makes it even just makes for a great matchup Saturday night.
Jay Moore's with us. Big Red Wrap-Up, Hail Varsity Radio at JMoore44. Jay, going to go back to Saturday and get your thoughts. 40-7, Nebraska trounces UTEP. A lot of takeaways. Let's start with Dylan Rhule and what you were expecting versus what you saw.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't know quite what. I knew he can. He's gonna make some plays. He's gonna be able to throw the football. I just didn't know what they're going to ask of him. Love the game plan starting out early from Zat. Really committed to run the football. They ran it at ease majority of the game with multiple backs, so that was great to kind of get him in a rhythm. Got him with some easy throws to start off the game with. Some quick outs, nothing crazy. Got him out of the pocket a couple times to throw on the run, throw on the move. But just a good way to manage him and just manage emotions and nervousness and manage expectations. But then you got to see, what kind of hype was all about. His ability to throw that first deep ball to Nayor that just got through his hands. But then when he was able to step up in the pocket, I think in the second quarter or sometime in the first half, and gets that sidearm throw to Banks, and I think it's Banks or Nayor, one of the two, and you're just like, man, that's That's different. We haven't had a kid a player that's done that. Saw the deep ball to Nayor, saw the deep ball to Banks. The biggest thing I take away is, his ability to put the ball where only his guys can get it. And it's been game one, but you got to start somehow, and that's the thing of beauty. That's what you want your quarterback to do, is protect the football. Obviously, we had the issues last year, protect the football, but he has an ability and a knack to always just put it where his guys can get it. But the game plan ran really well. The commitment to the run, get him out of the pocket, some high percentage throws. You take your shots when you can get them, and then hopefully, when you play well and you start off the second half as well as we did, you're done by the middle of the third quarter. You're able to get some other guys some reps. So overall, really well ran. I love the way it was operated and called. I think I've said on here before, you got to commit to run the football, and hopefully they do it again against Colorado, because North Dakota State was able to run the ball pretty well against that defense. So hopefully it's a lot of the same this weekend as well. But what a good start for the young quarterback, and the sky's the ceiling. Obviously the sky is the ceiling for him right now.
Jay, based on what you saw on Saturday, based on what we've heard out of fall camp and through the summer months, how different do you think the team that's going to be playing Colorado on Saturday is from the team that went out to Boulder last year?
Yeah, it's vastly different, and mainly from the offense and special team side. If I had to start with the special teams, you saw the ability to make the return game happen. Kickoff return, there's been improvements there. Having IGC back there with the punts, that's different. But then offensively, you see it, just the quarterback position's better. The ability to take care of the ball. You had the one fumble by Dowdell. It was just one of those hits where the guy that got him right on the helmet got it on the ball, and that's going to happen sometimes when you're playing physical football. It's going to pop out. But offensive line much improved. They're able to protect Dylan. They did bring some pressures, but that's going to happen. You're going to bring more than you can block. They're going to have a chance to get to the quarterback. So that offense is vastly different. Defensively, they're probably better than last year, in my opinion, out in what we saw in Boulder. You got a lot of those guys that everyone played out there except for really Reimers and Henrich. So they're back end, they're better. Defensive line, all these guys who played that were young, Princewell, Cam Lenhart, Riley Van Pop, all these young players that played sparingly at times last year, they're better. Obviously, you throw in the guys who started last year, and this is a much improved football team, Nebraska, that they took out the Boulder. But guess what? Colorado's improved as well. Their weapons on offense are still there. Their ability to pop the big play. I know they did lose the really good running back that transferred to Kansas State, but I think they're improved as well. So it's gonna be a fun battle. But I tell you what, I like Nebraska's defense against Colorado's offense in this one, especially on a night game at home, crowd noise, and their ability to get to Shador like they're able to last year it's going to be fun to watch.
Jay Moore, a few minutes with us. Nebraska-Colorado week, Hail Varsity Radio. Defense looked great. Rhule looked great, and the run game was an emphasis. Nebraska did their job on Saturday, and 100-plus folks got in. That's important, Jay. You look at the experience factor and the psyche element of this is where I want to go next here. It is a big game. It's a pivot point game. It's a statement opportunity. All those things are very real when it comes to covering the team, talk radio, and the fan base. Rhule's looking at it as game 2, season 2. Go out and do your job, yeah, but it's not like, all right, the sky is falling, the season is over if you don't get a win. If you go play good football and it doesn't happen, sometimes you just get beat. What's your takeaway on the importance of Saturday?
That's important. I think it's honestly from the fan, just because of the rivalry, because of Colorado, because of Dion and all the stuff. He's the pageantry and all the drama you've heard the last couple of years, and you see Dion on the commercials with Saban all the time. So people just get a little annoyed by the stick, right? And how they kind of operated as a program, and they want to beat them, right? And it's just honestly, this game it means more. This is not in a negative way, but to the fans, I think this game means more to them. Everybody that I talk to is like, can we beat Colorado? I just want to beat Colorado. We have to beat Colorado. It's like, no, we don't have to beat Colorado. Do we want to beat? Yes, we want to beat Colorado. If somehow we stubbed our toe and lost to Colorado, listen, it's not the end of the world. There's a lot of football to be played and a lot of games to be won. But but yes, this is important. You want to win this one. Like I said, it's been circled since last September when we lost that game. They were coming here and it was going to be a night game. But I think from a maturity standpoint, from a football player standpoint, it's just another game. This is game two of 12. Yeah, you're going to come out there, you're going to prepare just like UTEP, just like if it's Colorado, just like it's going to be Northern Iowa. And that's just part of the process. I've always said you got to be ingrained, engulfed in the process. And every game's the same. Doesn't matter if it's Colorado, Northern Iowa, USC, Ohio State. You always got to prepare the exact same way. You can't get too high for one game, you can't get too low for the other one. So I can see what Rhule's doing. That's just the right way to go about it. But from a fan base, yeah, you got to win this game. You got to win this football game. You can't lose to Colorado because it's like we said, it's Colorado. We hate Colorado, so it's kind of a unique balance. But I tell you what, if Nebraska plays how they're capable to, and they play a good football game, they're going to win. They're going to beat Colorado. So I feel good about it. I feel rather comfortable heading to this one. And I think, like I said, as long as they take care of the football, I think the defense will hold up strong, and offense is going to be able to produce and do their thing, and it will be a W for the Big Red on Saturday.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Jay Moore with us here. Big Red wrap-up at JMoore44, where you follow him on Twitter. Nebraska-Colorado thoughts as we get Nebraska Buff Week going. Jay Bird, a thought here with Dylan Rhule, and you're in the media, yes, but you're also an alum that put his hand in the dirt for a lot of years. Do you have more confidence in Nebraska because of what Rhule can do? Did he show you enough Saturday, and you fast forwarded to this Saturday and beyond? Do you feel better for the first time in a while?
Yeah, I do. And we didn't know what it was going to look like. And you just got to see what it's like when it's another opponent, right? And I feel better. He's going to face obviously better defenses, but if like Coach Rhule was saying, he has ability on that long run by Emma Johnson to get out a 2 or 3 checks, and that's big time for a freshman to do that. And I know he's been here since the spring, but that just means the game isn't moving too fast for him. His maturity's there. His ability to think when you're tired and things are moving fast is there. So that's one thing. But like I said, his ability to throw the football is I don't know if we've had anyone like this probably since Zach Taylor, Joe Gans. To put it where only your guy can get it, throw the deep ball, throw the intermediate routes. Create when you need to create something, and the play breaks down. But again, we're showing the ability to run the football as well, and we've shown. A dedication to it, and that's important. We got the 4 running backs, and all 4 of them, had plenty of carries, and I imagine it's going to be the same again on Saturday. So, with all that being said, offensive wise, there's a lot to be seen, and I'm very encouraged by what I've seen on Saturday. Defensively, I knew we were going to be really good. I mean, 205 total yards. Yeah, you got the one big play. It's going to happen. Sudden change after the fourth down stop. Listen, they have scholarship players too, but their ability to rally to the football, make tackles in space, play in a no huddle situation. That's about what I expect from a defense, and then special teams are improved as well. So, with all that said, I'm very happy where everything is. It's nice to feel good after game one and not be stressed out, and have something to. I've always looked forward to everything, but it's not doom and gloom, right? You're, oh man, here we go again. Same kind of issues, same kind of mistakes, same kind of things, and I just don't have that this year. Things are up and up, and like I said, knock on wood, everyone stays healthy and keep continuing to take care of the football. And this is going to be a tough team to deal with most of the season.
Jay Moore's with us here, and Jay, as we dive a little further on Rhule, do you think that Dom's going to be in his ear this week, making sure Dylan knows how important Nebraska-Colorado is? Based on what you know about Dom, pretty intense guy. I think the Colorado-Nebraska rivalry meant a lot to him. Do you think he's going to be reminding Dylan of that this week? I
think so. But again, I think Dylan probably knows already to some point. But and from my view, does it do any good to give him the history of it or to put added pressure on yourself? You gotta control emotions, control your how you think about things. So I'm sure there might be something said, but I don't know if it's necessary. I think Dylan's obviously well calculated, and so is his pops. And I think you just want, like I said before, you want to approach this game just like any other game. Yeah, I know from the fan standpoint, you'd like to think that these players are going to put in extra effort and they're going to be more fired up, more intense. Like, no, they're going to handle it just like UTEP. They're going to handle it just like Northern Iowa next week and Illinois. It's just another game. It's another a notch in the season. And but like I said, it's this one obviously just means more for the fans, but for players, it's another opportunity to go out and get better and get a second win, right? So I think that's the right way to look at it.
Jay, we'll wrap with this and catch Jay Tuesday on Big Red Wrap-Up on Nebraska Public Media as they'll preview Nebraska-Colorado. Is there a game you put added extra pressure or juice into? You were pretty even keel. You went out and performed at a high level when you went out there, but was there a little extra giddy-up during your career on a game or two that came to memory?
No, and not in particular. I think, you look back, you try to approach it, like I said, you approach the week exactly the same. You got to prepare the same every week. And that, like I said, doesn't matter. I think, looking back, I think when we played Oklahoma my junior year, in the middle of the season, obviously playing Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship, when you're playing those championship games or big time rivalries like that, it means a lot, but it didn't alter my how I went about my business. I still practiced the same way. I still went through my same routine. I ate the same way. I just tried to do the same thing. I didn't try to do any more. Definitely didn't try to do any less by any means. I just approached the same way. So I think good players, good teams, they have their rituals, they have their routines, and I'm sure Coach Rhule and staff and the players they're going about the exact same way. But I think a championship game, right? You're gonna have your moments where it can get in your mind a little bit, but I think the good teams, mature teams, it's just another ball game. But like I said, it's not another ball game for the fans, but it's just another ball game for those guys that are going to try out there out of the northeast corner of the stadium on Saturday.
Jay, we'll see you on Saturday, bud. Appreciate you as always.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Good stuff from Blackshirt Husker NFLer Jay Moore. And be sure to catch his thoughts, not only his breakdown with UTEP, but also thoughts ahead to Nebraska-Colorado. That will be part of Big Red Wrap-Up's coverage tomorrow. So we love catching up with Jay, Coach McBride, Darian Hagan. Today on the Labor Day edition of Hail Varsity. Let's hear a little bit more from Matt Rhule as we sneak in some thoughts from Coach as he was doing his presser right around 1:45 or so. So the topic here of Shedeur getting ready for a really talented quarterback coming to Lincoln Cut 5.
Well, he's got a big-time arm. He can use all 53 1/3 yards of the field, right? He can throw the ball from sideline to sideline. He's got a great feel for the pocket. He moves in the pocket. He can hurt you with his feet, but he slides in the pocket to find guys that are open. He's got excellent weapons around him. They ran the ball well this past game. And he's courageous and tough. He's an elite competitor. you're probably facing 2 of the first 5 guys drafted in the draft this week. So he'll certainly be up there.
Big time. He'll make it part of the event, man. He is. You don't have to like him. You sure as hell have to respect him.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
He's an incredible talent, and he has just pinpoint accuracy. Now, can Nebraska get after him?
If you as a Husker fan aren't afraid of Shedeur Sanders, you're not paying attention.
Or you've started early, which is fine. We'll sneak in some more thoughts from Coach Rhule, scouting those wide receivers. And, don't kid yourself. There's a few of those vets that remember last year in Boulder. We'll wind down a Labor Day edition of Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Big thanks to Darian Hagan, Coach Charlie McBride, Jay Moore, a Monday edition of Hail Varsity, Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. Tomorrow's show, Mitch Sherman with us, Proud Buff, and Mr. ESPN, Matt Schick. And it's going to be a fullback type of ball game, if Nebraska has anything to say about it. Part of that championship run for Nebraska football, Joel Makovica. We got a cowboy collar sighting for tomorrow. Pretty excited about that. 489-1240. Going to be a big week, Elijah, for Death Row. Let's not kid ourselves. Pretty impressive opportunity in front of them.
Who do you think's got more on their shoulders with this game plan this week? It's something I think we'll probably get into as the week goes on.
I think Shedeur. I think their big 3. They've got to carry.
Well, yeah, and for Nebraska to slow that big 3 down, is it more on their D line or on the secondary?
I think the D line has to go play pinata. I think Nebraska's secondary is fine, but that isn't fair to ask you to cover those guys when he has time or gets loose. I mean, you're going to get beat. Mm-hmm. Any secondary would get beat.
I mean, the biggest concern I have whenever I look at this matchup is if Nebraska's pressure isn't getting home, which is why I'm with you. I think there's more pressure to get after him.
I about swore there. I'm glad I caught myself. They sacked him 8 times last year, and you don't lose games. You sack a guy 8 times.
Well, Nebraska did.
No, I get it because the offense was a tire fire.
Well, and that's like, you got pressure after him. I think you'll probably get pressure on him this year, but I think there's still going to be moments where the big matchup I circle that scares me is Malcolm Hartzog matched up on Jimmy Horn. I think I said that on the Average Joe Sports Show. That scares me whenever I look at Saturday.
Guess what can happen?
Travis Hunter matched up on anyone in that Husker secondary should be putting alarm bells off in your head. Shedeur Sanders evading the pressure, getting outside, looking downfield, that should be scary if you're a Husker fan. There's so many ways this Colorado team can beat Nebraska. And I was a lot more impressed with the week 1 performance in Nebraska.
On offense.
Well, if it's a shootout, Colorado wins shootouts. Do you think Nebraska or Colorado is more equipped to win in a shootout?
Oh, I think Colorado's more equipped to win in the shootout. I don't think. I mean, it can't be that way. Mm-hmm. They can get a play or two, or they can get a big play or two. I mean, they're going to score some points, but it can't be. I mean, they can't get more than 24.
I think one of the big keys is going to be getting after Shedeur, making him uncomfortable, and getting them from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 18 because you bring him down in the backfield. That's how you derail a Colorado drive.
What was murder last year for you? It was 3rd down and long. Mm-hmm. Colorado was killer, 3rd and long. They did well. Let's squeeze in real quick from Matt Rhule last year when it comes to prepping for this year. Cut number 7.
Well, they have 2 new coordinators. So, it's a different offense and a different defense, so we spent a lot of the summer watching the Bengals defense and, just watching, Coach Livingston, where he's come from. And obviously Coach Shermer's been doing this for a long time, a guy that I respect a lot and know. So, you can go back to last year and see, some of the players and what they do, but I don't think there's any secrets here about what they're capable of. They've got dynamic playmakers. They've rebuilt the offensive line. They're big, they're physical, and defensively, they play man coverage. They pressured a bunch in the second half, to slow down North Dakota State. And, they play really, really hard. I mean, Warren Sapp's their D-line coach. You know, they play really hard up front, so they fly around. So they've got really good players, and they've got a really well thought out scheme and well coached team.
Love it. Kill with kindness. Back at you tomorrow at 4 with Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager. Thanks.